Hey, everybody, Joe the Lawyer here. Holy shit, is it hot? I cannot believe how damn hot it is. This is like, it's been nice, this whole year so far. Not bad, this summer. Then, like a week and a half ago, man, it just kicked in. It went from nice spring weather to we're in hell. Yeah, we are in hell. So, this is this is kind of where we're at right now in Connecticut, where I live. So, Jesus. Jesus. Oh, let me check. Let me make sure we are broadcasting everywhere here. Let's see. Are we on Twitch? Yeah, it looks like our Rumble is working. All right. So Rumblers, you're good. All right. All right. Let's see Twitch here. Yeah. Yeah. Twitch is going good. So that's all right. Let's check y'all out on Twitter. Come on, Twitter. Don't let me down. Yes. And let's check the notorious Facebook, because Facebook sucks. Never actually does anything until I tell it to. So here we go. Come on, Facebook. You're going slow, man. You're going slow. Edit the audience. Where's my edit audience? Where the hell is the edit audience button for Facebook? Come on. Where are you? Edit post, edit live video. You suck, Facebook. I can't, half the time you work, half the time you don't. I don't know who's watching. I can't tell if the audience is it just me right now, which is usually the default, or is there anybody else able to watch this? I have no idea. We'll figure that shit out later, I guess. So the hell with you, Facebook. The hell with you. It's like Conan said to Crom. The hell with you. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yes, we are going on YouTube, so that's the main thing. Y'all YouTubers watching here. So who we got here? Anybody in the chat? I'm wondering how I'm sounding, guys. If you could chime in if you're in the chat, because hey, David, it's so freaking hot that I have a fan on. Oh, where am I? Fan on that way. And I got AC on that way. And so I want to make sure that you're not getting any sort of, weird sounds or anything like that. So David, I see you there, buddy. Thank you. How does it sound, David? Are you getting any weird static or hiss or fan sound or wind or anything like that? I hope not. I have this mic which has like the covering on it, so I'm hoping it's pretty good, but I just want to make sure. So you guys can let me know. Sounds good. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Michael Stengel in the house. Appreciate that. Howdy, Terry. What's going on? What's going on? So yeah, this has been a brutal week. I mean, for the heat, it's going to get worse. It's going to be over 100. Over 100 tomorrow, I think. And that's just with, the basic sun. You go in like the car, you could like drop an egg in a car and take it out an hour later to be like hard boiled. It's going to be insane, man. It's going to be insane. How you guys doing with this heat? I know the whole country, America at least, is feeling it. What do you got going on there, Terry, Michael, David, whoever else is in the chat? What's the temperature out there? Let me check the current. Let me see here. Because we all check the phone for our temperature now. Remember growing up, had the freaking thermometers out there? You look outside, see what the hell it was or whatever, So, yeah. Let me see what the hell the temperature is now, because now we got to look at our phone. So it's 93, but it feels like 109. Kiss my ass. Honestly, kiss my goddamn ass. Holy shit. Holy shit. And tomorrow, what's it going to be, I wonder? It's going to be 101 tomorrow, but it's probably going to feel like a million, So 101 tomorrow, feeling like 106. So that's what they're saying, because it got a little bit of wind. But well, it is freaking humid too. The west side of Connecticut's equally brutal. Yeah, you're over. How's it go? I'm not a gang dude. West side, is that how it goes? Mike, where are you at, Mike? Whereabouts in the west side? Whereabouts you live? 93% heat, 93% humidity. Jesus, it's like you might as well just die. I mean, the phrase I use is it's as hot as Satan's ball sack out here right now. So holy crap. I have a few rooms. I have window ACs, and there's no central air here. So I got this room is a window AC, has 6,000 BTU. My bedroom has 8,000. I got out there in the sort of living room, kitchen, whole area. I got like a 12,000 one going. It's a stand-up unit with the thing in the wall, going out to the window rather, and it's not even keeping up. Oh, New Milford's a nice area, man. So Mike, you go out to ShireCon then? Have we met in person? I don't know. I'm doing it this year though, man. If you're gonna be there, that'd be cool. I was gonna go to that Central New York con this year, but I ended up I couldn't go. I had to cancel. I lost like $250 between the ticket and the hotel room. They wouldn't refund the whole thing because I had back issues. It was a shit show. My back. I used to have a skateboard I was younger and thinner and stupid, and I would just take this $5 tag sale, yard sale, garage sale, whatever you call it, skateboard, and I'd go to the tallest hills in my town, and I'd go down, So I just go as fast as I could. I didn't do the tricks and the stunts. We didn't have anything like that. I didn't know anything about it. That is ancient ass skateboard, and I went to the tallest hills and I go down. And one day, remember the old video stores you could go to rent a video from a mom and pop before Blockbuster and all that, right? So it was like, I'm like 14, early 80s, right? So I go to the video store. Thank you, Raptor 7. Thank you. So I go to this video store and I pick up a video. I don't know what the hell it was. Probably Rambo. So I rented that like 1,000 times, right? So I go pick up, let's call it Rambo. And I'm going down the skateboard. And my brother, my sister, my friends were making sure no cars were coming as I'm going down this stupid hill like a jackass. And I'm going down full speed, right? And as you all know, whoever's done something this stupid, if your skateboard hits a rock, the skateboard stops, but you don't. You keep on going. So, cool, man. Cool. All right, Mike. Great, dude. So anyway, the skateboard stopped. I kept going. I ended up doing like the triple jump. Boom. Because I'm trying to get my feet ahead of me to catch myself, It's like boom, boom, boom. I'm like jumping like a motherfucker. So I jump, and I couldn't get my feet ahead of me because I'm going downhill. And all I'm thinking is, oh my God, my paper money is not going to pay for this $55 video or whatever it was back then. So I'm holding the video up. I come down on my chest and my arm, but this arm was up holding the video so it wouldn't break. So my body contorted like this. Ever since then, I've had like back issues, right? So that happened last week. My back, it goes out once in a while. The worst I ever had it was I bent down to pick up an empty paper bag after like loading for like an hour cases of soda and juice in a basement. Unloading, loading, catching, moving, all that shit, and bringing it up 2 flights of stairs. Then I bent over. No problem from that. Bent over, pick up an empty paper bag, going out. But anyway, back goes out last week. I'm a fucking mess. So I know I just got it, immobilized, blah, blah, blah. And then it turned into sciatica. Whole different story. So I've been going to Cairo. It's a shit show. But the bottom line is I couldn't go to Central New York Con, unfortunately, for its first inaugural con. Pain in the ass. It stunk. It's really stunk because I was looking forward to that. So I lost out on the money, but I will be going to ShireCon this year. So I'll see you again, Mike, at ShireCon. Okay. So that'll be a fun time. It'll be a fun time out there. Hopefully it's not as hot as now. Holy crap. It's got to be cooler. I mean, it's September, right? The end of September, it's got to be cooler than this around Bilbo's birthday. So yeah. But anyway, what we got here? We got 17 peeps. We got 4 on Rumble. We got 1 on X. We got 12 on YouTube. We got 1 on Twitch. And of course, none on Facebook because Facebook sucks. Again, it always edit live video, edit posts, blah, blah, blah. It won't let me do the thing where what is the audience? I just want to make sure it goes out to everybody, but it won't do that. So it's so freaking annoying. Anyway, the hell with you, Facebook. I'll have to find another app to transmit to because Facebook never helps. But content of the day, guys. The content of the day. Howdy, Decado. What's going on? So I figured we'd talk a little bit about spells because, as you guys know, because you haven't seen the videos, I took a break from doing the DMG, right? And I've been working on the hard part because what I realized, it's a weird thing, I realized that I need to keep playing D&D. I need to keep running games. It's a funny thing. I took off, as you guys know, in March, right? I ended all the games I was in running or playing because I wanted to focus on writing, right? And I didn't realize at the time how much I needed running games in order to develop shit for it. Like the game coming up on Saturday or Tuesday or whatever it was a huge impetus that to make me do stuff, right? It helped me create. I needed that deadline. I needed that pressure. Like I was the guy in college. I had to do my senior thesis. I was in his honors program. They wanted a 40-page senior thesis. Man, Takano, I wish I could have gone, dude. I had to do this 40-page senior thesis in college, and I did it in a weekend because I needed the pressure, and I got an A on it, So it was like, that's what I got to do. I need the pressure. So I need to run games again. So what I realized is that I need to run games. I'm going to run not 5th edition or 2nd edition, House Rule, or any other games. I want to run my own goddamn game. I have all the classes. I got the basic rules all set. I need to do the spells. And so what I realized is that I got to really hunker down and start doing these spells in order to so I could run the games so I could actually create more. Right? Yeah, I agree, Chad. It's really what I need to do. It keeps your creative juices flowing and it forces me to do something because you're sitting there thinking about it, right? When you don't have a game to run, when you're not you don't have like a pressure, on you. For me, at least, it motivates me. A lot of people are self-motivated, not so much in that regard. It's like, I could sit there and write for 4 hours, or I could watch, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin's gonna win. So, that's just the thing with me, right? So I need that pressure. Hey, James, what's going on, man? So anyway, I decided I'm going to work on the spells, and I got to get this. I got to get it done. Now, what I'm doing for spells in this, guys, this is sort of a prelude to the video here, just so you understand where I'm coming from. Is I'm going through mostly these. All right, we got the Wizard Spell Compendium, and we got the Priest Spell Compendium, and then we got a few other books. Like Monty Cook had a good book on spells. This Monty Cook Spell Treasury, Arcana Evolved book. Then we have this tome of Spell Mastery. It just came out from, I think, Necromancer or Fraga. I forget who the hell. Yeah, Tome of Spell Mastery from Necromancer. There's a few books. Listen, I think one more I gotta find. But what I'm doing is I'm going through these books and I'm looking at the spells. Right, I have the PDFs, and I'm scanning through and I'm looking at the spell name and very, very briefly at the descriptions of the spells, and I'm trying to figure out like what is the gist of the spell. Because what I'm doing is I'm making up my own spells. I'm not going to take the OGL Fireball, I'm not going to take the OGL spells, right? Because I want distinctiveness in my game. I want distinctiveness. That's why tears are ringing in the office. I would guess. Yeah, I agree, James. I want distinctiveness in my spells because I want my game to be distinctive, right? And as going through and what I'm doing is, even though it's like the Wizard Spell Compendium, right? I'll see a spell and I'm like, that's more like a warlocky spell. Right, or maybe that's a druidy spell. Or I look at the cleric's books and I say that's more of a wizard spell or a warlock spell or something like that. So what I'm doing is just trying to figure out of all these spells. I look at the name, I look at the gist, and what I'll do is I got this Excel spreadsheet, and I'm just writing the name of the spell. If I have a rough idea what level I might want to set it at, I'll write that in there as well, and then I'll write a brief blurb of my thoughts on the spell. I'm trying not to read too much because I don't want to copy anything, right? And it's a whole different system anyway, so I need to change it up anyhow. But I'm writing like a quick sentence, a thought on the spell or something like that. So for example, I have I'll look at one now, right? Let's see. Blood Fever. I don't know what that was originally. I'm not sure what the spell was that I got that from. But I call it Blood Fever because I'm changing every name so I don't get, fucked with Wizards of the Coast. And you start to bleed through your eyes, nose, and your ass, and your junk, and your dick, and your skin. You have a fever, and you're dead in X amount of days. Cure Light stops it for a day, but it continues until Cure Disease is cast, right? So that to me, I don't know where I saw it, right? Probably a wizard book. But I said to myself, that's a warlocky spell. Because I want warlocks to have a certain flavor, right? It's not just a generic thing. Because how many times did you guys see? This is a little history on this shit, right? A little history. This is what I started with, right? AD&D for the most part. I started with Beckme, the basic and expert, right? I was the Mentor books, but I started with, this is really where I lived for a long time, all right? So let me just read your description of Fireball, all right? Well, not read the whole fucking thing, but just tell you one thing about Fireball is that it's a D6 damage for every level of experience of the caster. So that means if you're a 30th level wizard, it's a 30d6 Fireball, right? 30d6 Fireball. Yeah, Mike, I don't think it came from the Book of Vile Darkness because I'm not using that book. And these are second edition books I'm using for reference. Some of these I just pop into my head as I'm reading anyway. Like sometimes I'll read a spell, but I don't like it, but it gives me an inspiration. Like, oh, this be shit, but I like I'll take that and make it into this, So, yeah. So, anyway, 30d6, right? And I'm happy, and because I like wizards, I'm a wizard guy. I'm a magic user dude, right? I always have been, always like that stuff. So then, second edition rolls around, right? This is the the revised handbook, the green book I was using for my campaign. Let me just read to you the Fireball here. All right, same deal. D6 per level, but caps at 10d6. That's when I started hating TSR. Because fuck you. You're gimping wizards. You're taking away the ability of wizards to be the big goddamn bazooka on the... now they're a bazooka. Before they were a nuke. Now they're just a bazooka, right? It sucks. So I hated that. I hated that about it. And so then I got into third edition for a bit. We never did 3.5 because it didn't seem to make sense. We liked third, so we just kept it, right? And so then I'm reading this stuff, and the first time I'm playing a wizard again, of course, right? And some other guy's playing a cleric, and the cleric says, "Well, I'm going to do what the hell was it? Power word kill or something like that." I'm like, "You're a cleric, asshole. What are you doing? Power word kill, you know?" So he said, "No, we can do it because I'm a certain domain, war domain." I think it was a war cleric. So it has power word stun, power word kill, power word blind. I'm like, that's bullshit. I never bothered looking at clerics because who the fuck wants to play a cleric, right? They suck. They're just a heal bot, right? So I'm like, this sucks. This is terrible. So I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the other spheres. The protection domain, that's prismatic sphere. You have, what is it? The strength domain has all the big B spells. I'm like, those are wizard spells. How the hell does the cleric have wizard spells? This is stupid. And then it just pissed me the fuck off, you know? And so fourth I skipped because fourth edition is a living abortion, as I call it, right? But you get into fifth edition, right? So fifth edition, let's take a look here what we got. If you're a light domain cleric, you now have what? Wall of fire, fireball, scorching ray, burning hands. It's like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? And if you're a nature domain, you're effectively a cleric because you got all this, shit ton of their good spells, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I think third edition was the worst offender because they gave everything away. Wizards always had the cool spells. Clerics, as we know, always had shittier spells, but they were clerics. They were heal bots, right? So I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I want my casters to be unique. I don't want them to just bleed over. Now, one good thing AD&D did well is they had, even if they had like a continual light for a cleric and for a wizard, there was usually differences. Hey, Death Angels. They usually had differences, right? They had a slight difference. And by the way, guys, click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate it. Share it out. Anyway, there were slight differences. Like it lasted a certain amount of time, different area of effect, different range, different radius, whatever it would be. The spells were slightly different, so it wasn't always the same thing. You would see like just like wizard spell or just like magic user spell, but duration is as per above, and you see it's a different duration. So I kind of, all right, it's a little bit different then. It's a little bit better. Whatever, that's cool. Right? It all went downhill from there. Ever since second edition came in, it went downhill. One thing they did well, though, was these priest spheres in second edition. You guys remember that? So all the priest spells were sorted by level, of course, and then they had spheres. The combat sphere, the protection sphere, the sun, the weather, the elemental sphere, the combat, So all these different spheres, all the spells were sorted by sphere. And so if you were a cleric of a certain god, if you're a cleric of the god of war, you're going to get combat, you're going to get maybe healing, you're going to get guardian, but you're not going to get sun and weather, right? You're not going to get those things. Or you might have minor access to those things. In other words, you could only cast up to third or fourth or whatever the hell level it was. If you had minor access to it, major access gave you access to all seventh level. Because back then, clerics only went up to seventh level spells. So I kind of like that, right? I kind of enjoyed that. I'm going to adapt that into my game, too. I like the spheres for clerics because I think there's going to be a base cleric list of spells. You're going to have the standard cure lights, find traps. Why clerics got find traps, I have no fucking idea, but they do. So I'm going to give them that, It seemed more like maybe a cleric that got a thieves maybe or something like that. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much it. That's what I'm focusing on here. But one thing I'm doing, though, is I will not ever have a spell be the same for two classes because I like class protection. As you all know, I've said that a trillion times. I like class protection for all my players, for in my games, okay? And I also like class distinctiveness. It kind of goes along with class protection, but it's slightly different. Class protection means you can't do the things I do, right? Like, you can't have a spell that mimics a thief. You can't have a whole list of spells, even if you're a cleric of the god of thieves. You're not going to have all the spells that mimic a thief. You might have some thief abilities, but you're not going to have the spells that mimic a thief so that you don't need a thief, right? That's the thing. But class distinctiveness via spells, that gives you the vibe. That gives you the feel, okay? And by the way, guys, like I said earlier, a lot of people joining. If the sound is weird or anything, I got a fan going. I got an AC going because it's hot as balls here. So let me know if it sounds weird, and I'll turn something off and die in front of you, okay? So, but anyway, I want the distinctiveness because warlock spells, in my world, right, warlocks are going to be lesser deities or ancient eldritch deities or something like that, right? So you're going to have a combination of different, every warlock is going to have a different, like, you got some core spells, but they're all going to be different depending on your god and different abilities based on your god, whoever you're worshiping, right? So you're going to get like eldritch gods. They're I'm thinking a lot of tentacles, a lot of hentai, right? A lot of weird shit, acid and stuff like that. If you're a warlock who's your patron is a devil, you're gonna have a lot of fire spells. If you're a warlock whose patron is a demon, you know, a lot of lightning and chaos and crazy shit like that, right? So and charm for warlocks of hell, because domination, control, things like that. You know, there's going to be a theme or a flavor. Even if they get charm, it's going to be slightly different than the charm person for wizards, or maybe radically different. Who knows? That's the sort of thing I'm looking to do, though. Death Angels 92, 72. Yeah, I got my ACs set to 60, 60, and max, and I'm still, as you can see, got the sheen going here. My thought was that a little bit of rum could help with the sheen. We'll see how it goes. Even if it doesn't help with the sheen, I'm going to have some rum anyway, you know? Mm-hmm. Got to go to the gym later anyway, so I got to get ready with the, you know, get the gird your loins with the rum. So anyway, that's sort of the goal here, is to have every class distinguished by their spells, so that you're never going to see what like you see in 5th edition. It's not going to be a setup where you just look at the spells and it's a 4th level divination spell, locate creature, or whatever the hell it is, right? Or mage armor, 1st level abjuration. And then it doesn't even tell you, like in AD&D, which classes had those spells. You know, which classes can actually use those spells. It doesn't even say anything like that. It just says, here it is. And then you look at your class to see if you can actually use it, right? It's dumb. It's dumb. So let me just sort of go over my idea of class vibe and just the spells they're going to have, all right? So the first is, you know, mages, wizards. Traditional wizard spells that you've seen in AD&D. Warlock, as I said, they are going to have spells that are based on their patron god. But warlocks are not going to be a walking arsenal of spells. They're not going to have that many spells. A lot of their spells are going to be for the purpose of gaining worshipers and helping and aiding them, plus combating people who want to take them out, right? So it was very primal, very primordial, I guess you could say, all the warlock spells. And everything's going to be different depending on their patron. Okay, and these are going to be based in my world that I'm also going along with. So you're going to have here are the 8 or 10 warlocks available to you if you're going to play one. Here are the spells, here are their abilities, and they're going to be defined by abilities. Now, somebody in my Discord, link below if you want to join the Discord, said to me, Tim Tashanks said he hates it when basically abilities are lumped together as spells, and I agree. I don't think abilities are spells at all. Abilities are just an innate magical ability you can do. It's not a casting. There's no mumbo jumbo. There's no material components or anything like that. You know, that's the way I look at them. It's just a innate oomph. You think it happens, right? It's like the Belgariad, the will and the word, but there's no word. It's just the will. And out comes the thing. You know, probably gonna have to utter something. Actually, now that I say that out loud, I'm talking to myself. But yeah, you're gonna have to utter something. Like if you're a demon, it'll have to be the words are in abyssal. If you're a devil, you know, a warlock, some devil would be in, you know, whatever the language of hell is or something like that. You know, the eldritch Cthulhu type language, whatever it might be. So Death Angels, I don't think warlocks are ever in any older editions. Not that I saw. It might have been in like some random, I don't know, Dragon magazine article or one of the complete book of whatever the fucks as a kit or something, but I don't remember them ever. So yeah, that's first time I've ever seen them is in later editions. They sort of went along with tieflings too. So wherever the hell they came from, is that a 4th edition thing? I'm not sure. So that's, and the sorcerers are going to be as they are innate users. But what I'm doing for sorcerers is very different. I'm basing it on, as I look over here, though you can't see what I'm looking at, all the Rollmaster stuff. Remember how Rollmaster had their casting classes? Like if you're a wizard, you got the light group or the elemental fire group or something. And you had like 10 progressions, and each one give you a different spell or whatever. And you had to learn, if you're going to take light, level 1 lights, proficient, then you get a certain ability to do these few things. And then if you bumped it up, your proficiency in light, you got the next group of things you could do and choose from, and that sort of thing. That's how I'm going to do sorcerers. So I'm looking at things like that. Yeah, I don't like tieflings either, man. I changed them up. I'll get into that a little bit, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do with sorcerers. So I'm looking there for, they're going to be like elemental, blood, wild, shadow, force, dimensional, things like that, light, dark. These types of spheres, I guess you could say, that they're going to be drawing upon. That's the goal. All right, so I'm going to use different things, and like so you could take one primary and a secondary, and the secondary gives you a minimal ability, the primary gives you more abilities. That's how I'm looking at sorcerers, but they're going to, and that they're going to have different abilities based on each class. I'm not the sorcerer for elemental fire. It's not going to have fireball. You might have something. They can do fire damage. It's not going to be burning hands and fireball, though, like burning hands, like casting it. There'll be burning hands or fireball like the wizards do. They'll have different fire abilities, right? So you look at the druid and the ranger, right? Rangers traditionally get druid spells because they have to draw them from somewhere, right? So let's just take a minimal list off the druid spells. If druids have 10 spells, look at the ranger 3 or 4 of them. No, they're going to have their own goddamn spells. That's how it's going to work, all right? They're not going to be related to it. I think for like, rangers too, I might, like, I'm not going to do spell components for every spell, but I want to do some where it gives a little flavor. And maybe for higher level spells, I'll use spell components like, 10,000 gold piece diamond for, I don't know, invulnerability, right? To all things. That's a super duper spell. It's going to have to cost you, right? Even for low level rangers, I might do the whole Athalas King's Foil thing for healing. Why not, right? I don't want, though, to have every spell have a material component, and then if you lose your shit, you can't cast a goddamn thing. I don't mind you lose your shit, it might be limited, right? But I don't want you to be able to not cast anything. That just sucks. You have to use verbal and one hand. As long as you can talk and have one hand free, you're good to go to cast spell stuff. Okay, so that's the deal. And I also have like a hunter class, which is based on The Witcher. Right, so the whole goal of the hunter class is to hunt down anything that's not of this plane. Fuck counterspell, Death Angels. I hate counterspell. I hated it ever since the first time I saw it. It's stupid. It will not be in my game. I cannot stand counterspell. In fact, my house ruled it away. Then I'm playing in my brother's game, and he's using my house rule. So I'm going into this thinking, all right, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, counterspell. So that's not. I fucking house ruled that away. He goes, I didn't. You son of a bitch. Yeah, that's it. No, the hell with that. So yeah, I hate counterspell. Right. So the hunters are going to have the ability to have spells and abilities that help them in the hunting of things that don't belong here in this world. That's their goal. Monstrosities, evil creations of wizards, demons, devils, elementals, oh my, all that stuff that doesn't belong here. That's the hunter's gig. And so they're going to have things like, how certain things are only hit by X or immune to Y or Z. Right, that's what they're going to have is like the ability to use make their sword into a flame sword for an extra D4 damage, so that they can hit the thing that's only hit by flame, right? Things like that. That's what I'm going to do for the hunters. So that's how I view that. Now dragons are going to have something called Dragon Song. It's going to be very different. I need to actually sit down and figure these out, but I'm taking inspiration from a lot of the bard abilities, the bard songs, because bards in mine are not going to have that same sort of thing. Bards are going to be more aligned with. The only good thing I like about bards in the old D&D thing was that they were like the spies of druids. I kind of like that. So I'm going to have them, those sorts of abilities, more like a spy ability. And they're going to have certain things related to spying and some related to singing and music or inspirational things, but it's not going to be, you're not going to get buffs in combat from a fucking bard. Bard's not going to be sitting there playing a fucking banjo while you're out there kicking ass to give you a +2 bonus to everything you do. That's just dumb. That's not going to happen, so counter to counter. Exactly. That's angels. That's what I'm going to do with dragons, though. They're going to sing a song. So dragons in a fight could, claw, tail, whatever the hell, plus either breath weapon or bite or sing. So whatever, one thing or the other comes out of the mouth, right? So that's pretty much how it's going to go. Giants are going to have rune magic, which I'm looking into how to create rune magic now. It's more, their dice are not going to be a playable class. So I have a little time to work on that. But the rune magic is going to be, you have this rune and that rune, and you combine them and you can do something. And it's going to be more of a make something up. If you have the lesser fire rune and the greater protection rune, you can create a fire shield And it's going to be up to the DM to sort of rule on that. Okay, the dragon makes a fire shield, and then what does it do? It's not going to be so much defined. It's going to be sort of made up as you go. So, Alexander, what's up, buddy? So that's how I'm going to do the rune magic, right? It's going to be up to the DM's discretion. Dragons do sing in my world. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I always like the dragon song from Macamia. Remember the Macamia? They had the dragon songs in there, the pug books and all that stuff. So I always kind of like that idea there. So I got into it. Now, priests, right? Like I said, one thing I did like about second edition is that priests are going to have spheres in this. They're going to have, it makes it easier for me to sort out you got your base, priest spells. There'll be no generic cleric, none. You're going to have clerics, priests rather, no clerics, and you're going to have base priest spells that all priests have. And then depending on what god you worship, you're going to have either major or minor access to various spheres, right? And plus, each god is going to have certain spells that they give you without having to memorize. Now, that's one thing I do like that I've sort of house ruled in over the years is what I call signature spells. I think I stole that from Castles and Crusades, if I remember right. So a signature spell is one that you never have to memorize, but you could swap out for one that you have memorized. So, in other words, every cleric is memorized, and otherwise, if you got 5 first level slots, you're doing 4 cure lights and some other bullshit spell, right? So that's it sucks because you can't do anything interesting because you load it up on cure lights. I'd rather have signature spells where a person at first level can say, okay, my first level signature spell is going to be, and once it's set, is set forever, Cure Light. And they could swap out a Cure Light for another spell that they've memorized. Okay, that's what I do. I do the same thing for wizards too. Every wizard, every caster, basically, for the most part, is going to have a signature spell. That way they're not always, stuck with the bullshit spell that they always have to do. Because who wants that, right? Who wants to be the one-hit wonder? You only do one thing all the damn time and over again. That's why nobody likes to play clerics, honestly. And wizards don't have to always memorize sleep or magic missile or something like that. You can play it up and do something different, And I'm going to have shamans, too. So shamans or shaman? What's the plural of shaman? I don't even know. But shaman are going to be more ritual casters. I think shaman magic, Alexander, fits more of a ritual thing for me because they're not going to be the in-combat spell guys. They're going to be, you wake up in the morning and the shaman is doing the ritual around the fire, and all the true believers and members of the tribe are going to get some bonuses. And if you're not a member of the tribe, you're going to get lesser bonuses. And I like that for clerics too. This is what I'm doing for clerics. In other words, you got the cleric of the god of war, whatever the god, Ares, Mars, whatever, right? The god of war from Mars. Now, if you're a fighter and you're a follower of Mars, and you're a dutiful follower of Mars in the sense that you give, a good chunk of your money to the Church of Mars, and you help them out, and you take missions for them without charging them and things like that. If you're that guy, right, these clerical healing spells for you as a devout follower of Mars are going to work really good. You might get a D8 for a D8 plus 1 for a cure light, right? If you're not a follower of Mars and that cleric's in your group, you're going to get a D4 plus 1, right? That's it. Something like that. I like that. I like the fact that, faith matters. And you got to if you're a follower of Mars as a fighter and there's a cleric of Mars in the group, you kind of got to role play properly to follow that person's lead as an ecclesiastical being, as a spiritual leader, something like that, right? Witch doctors, I'm not going to have those except for maybe like goblins, right? Some bullshit low level stuff. I'm not going to have witches or witch doctors per se. Witches are going to be like the in-town lady who does the herbal things. You might be able to go to a witch or something like that. Evil witches, maybe like hags or something like that. They're going to have the herbal things plus with a little weird crappy curse or something like that. So I'm going to get into that later, further on down the road. But I'm talking about the main classes for now. There's not going to be a witch doctor class or a witch class. NPC classes, okay? So that's what I'm looking at for priests and shaman. Basically, it's the more devout you are, the more benefits you're going to get from it. If you're not devout, if you're not a follower, you get lesser benefits. So a cure light for a non-follower, D4. Cure light for a follower, D8 plus 1, something like that, right? It's going to be built into the spell too. So basically, looking at the spells in terms of differences as well. Like I have a spell here for warlocks. It's called Bat Wings, right? It's the fly spell with wings, right? You're going to have these wings, and they're going to be in the form of like bat wings. That's hence the name of the spell, right? Now, there might be a druid spell that gives you the wings of a bird, right? But it's not going to be where you read bat wings for a warlock and say, see druid dove wings or hawk wings or something like that. It'll be very different. The different flight, the different speed, the different duration, the different look, the different vibe, everything about it's going to be very, very different. It's not just going to be the same spell with a different skin. You know what I mean? So that's what I like about it. Yeah, I like Adventurer's Backpack. I have the other one that they had it earlier. I'm gonna look at that for runes. From what I've seen, Castles and Crusades had the best book of rune magic that I've seen so far. So I'm gonna borrow, and be inspired by a lot of that stuff. Excuse me, got a seltzer here. Talking too damn much. I'm out of practice. I haven't done this in a while. So, speaking of which, I haven't done it in a while. I go through these phases. You haven't noticed? I go to really balls to the wall, and then I'll take a break. It's my social battery. Plus, I was a little bit lost as to what to talk about, and then it hit me. Why don't I just talk about what I've been doing? And so what I've been doing is spells. I'm like, I'll talk about spells. And so I might as well just talk about what I'm doing, rather than just talk about the DM guide or some issue of the day. Because I don't want to be that drama monger. You know what I mean? I don't want to be, somebody always talks about, here's the latest great, like that Scottish chick, that idiot. What the fuck's her name? You know who I'm talking about. Oh my God, the world is ending. That chick, right? She does her D&D channel. And she went from like no followers to like a zillion followers. Number one, because it's all doom and gloom. Number two, because she's a chick. It's the Ginny D effect, right? If I had fucking, huge tracts of land, I do have huge tracts of land, but they're not the ones you guys want to see without my shirt off, right? So, but anyway, she's always doom and gloom. Talk about nonsense and bullshit. So I don't want to just be that guy. I did that back in the blog days. I was always the asshole, this troublemaker, the shit stirrer, as I was called by, I think, Eric Mona, a shit stirrer. No, Jeff Rentz called me a shit stirrer. Yeah. Jeff, was it though? Eric Mona remember me from my old shit stirring days on Usenet in the late 90s. But anyhow, yeah, I don't want to be that guy anymore. I don't want to be a negative. I want to be more positive. So let me just talk about what's going on. Yeah, Dungeons and Discourse. Is that her name? She's Irish, whatever the fuck. She got that accent. But yeah, I heard she's a lawyer. I don't know, maybe. But she likes to argue. She's just fighting and arguing and bitching and moaning and complaining. Just shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ, man. She's got to be single. Nobody complains that much about shit and can tolerate that. Anyway, yeah, she's totally fucking obnoxious. Let's stop talking shit about a shit talker and get back to what I was talking about here. But yeah, I'm going to have more videos about what I'm doing, guys. So as I come across things, I'm working hard on spells now. So I come across things that I see about different spells or different things like that. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. I'm also starting to write the history of the world and my old campaign in sort of a short story novel form so that I could get into the history of the world, because the new campaign is going to be set 1,000 years after. So I got to sort of draw the map of it, because my old one was set in Forgotten Realms. I got to redraw everything and create new places and all that kind of shit. But that'll be that. So you're going to see a lot of stuff of what I'm doing and talking about there. So that'll be it. Lawyer with D&D channel. I know, Raptor 7. Who knew? Who knew that was a thing? There's a lot of us stuff. I don't know what comes first. The wish spell lawyering that you need to do to look for loopholes on how the DM's going to fuck you, and that made you become a lawyer, or were you just naturally a lawyer at heart and by mind and by the way you thought, and that made you good at wish spells? It's a chicken or an egg thing, right? I don't know. Morgan and Morgan, John Morgan should have been disbarred. I don't know who the fuck that is. Yeah, I have no idea who that is. Morgan and Morgan. But here's the thing I learned in law school. If you see a lawyer advertise, and I learned this later on in life after being out there in the wilds, in the legal community, if you see a lawyer advertise either on a billboard or a bus or on TV, they generally suck. Do not hire them. All right. Every state has that lawyer, or a couple of them that they're everywhere. They're on the bus stops. So we fight for you, and we're there for you, and we'll kick ass for you. And they all suck, because what they do is they get by on bulk. They're like the McDonald's of lawyers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not quality, it's quantity. And so they make a shit ton of money on the quantity of cases they personally bring in. But the people they sue, which is usually insurance companies, right? Because car accidents, slip and fall, you may be suing the person whose sidewalk you fell on, and you're going to see that person in court. But who you're really suing is their insurance company. And that lawyer sitting next to them is a lawyer for the insurance company, right? But that person, because of the contract they signed with the insurance company, must be there in court while they're getting sued, because it's easier for the insurance company lawyer to say, you don't want to sue poor Miss Agnes, who's 85 years old, who couldn't shovel her driveway because she had a broken ankle or something, right? And so that you get sympathy from the jury. But it's not Miss Agnes you're suing the fucking insurance company. Anyway, these fucking insurance companies, this is a fucking weird ass tangent here. The rum must be kicking in. But these fucking insurance companies, what they'll do is they love when you get these big bus stop billboard TV commercial lawyers in, because these lawyers always settle. They always settle for less than what they could have if they actually went to court. The lawyers who you want are the ones who go to court and win big. All right. So never go for these fucking supermarket ad TV ad lawyers. All right. Anyway, boom. That's it. Tangent over. Sorry. I figure I'm giving you knowledge about the legal system here, so it might help you out. Anyway, let's see. So I got a little notes here I want to do. So, like I said, every class, if you look at Swords and Wizardry, right? Swords and Wizardry Complete that Matt Finch came out with recently, the way he did it, I really enjoyed, because he gave you by class a list of all the spells each class had, listed by level, and then each spell had their own description in it. So it's not like you're looking at one book and all spells of first level are in that book, and you don't know which one's the druid spell, which one's the wizard spell, which one is the cleric spell. What Matt did was he had all his spells. Here's the warlock spells, 1st through 9th level. Here are the wizard spells, 1st through 9th level. They're all in one place. And even if they are a duplicate of the cleric spell, for example, light spell or something like that, you're still going to get an individual list. So when I'm going to a con, all I got to do, if I'm running Swords and Wizardry, which is my go-to con system, right? I'm going to be running that at ShireCon. All I have to do if I'm running S&W is basically print out the first couple pages of all the spells, because you're going to get, here's your 5th level wizard, here's 1st through 5th level spells, or 1st through 3rd level spells, and you can then, in your spell book, choose, here's the base ones I'm giving you, and pick 3 more. Put those in your spell book. Now you have a little choice and a little action, and you're not having to pass out handbooks to each person. So I love that. I love that. And I'm going to copy that too. I'm going to copy that. So each class is going to have their own list of spells. It's not going to be all lumped together, all first level spells, regardless of the class, that sort of thing. I'm not going to do that. It's going to be more like AD&D by class. Okay. You can do that with PDFs a lot easier. The book itself might have them a little bit differently arranged, but I'm still going to keep my class, but they might be a little bit differently arranged in there depending. I'll have to see how it lays out, bottom line is. So like I said, for high level spells, it's going to be a little bit different for spell component purposes, but even for similar spells, I'm not going to have the same spell components, because a wizard would need different components than a ranger, even if it's a similar spell, right? If a wizard has a sneaking, or let's put it like a cleric of the God of Thieves is going to have a different spell for sneaking and stalking than a ranger would, a different spell component. All right. So if there is a spell component, it'll be a little bit different, because I like the distinctness. Now, the reason I think this matters is because if you have classes that are walking around and you can't tell what actual class they are, number one, it takes away from the fun of the game. All right. And number two, it takes away from the other guy who's like all excited to use that spell. Right. I mean, if the wizard is like, all right, I'm going to drop this goddamn fireball on the entire goblin encampment. We're going to kick ass and take names, and this is awesome. You roll your initiative, and the cleric comes up first, but he's a cleric of the God of Fire, and he drops a fireball. It's like, fuck, dude, you took away my thunder, man. You took away all my glory. I'm the goddamn wizard. I'm the fireball guy. You're not you. You're a fucking heal bot. Well, you know what I mean. Not necessarily, but yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. So that's why I want to do it differently. That's why I want to do it, where you have distinction, where you have flavor. Each character class, the spells they have, makes them a different class. And so if you walk up to a guy who's a priest of the god of war, and you walk up to a guy who's a priest of the god of light, I want 70% of the spells to be completely different. I want them to be very, very different in feel and flavor. And I think that's going to help with the role playing too. I think when a player is playing a cleric of two different, one player's a cleric of the god of war, the other one's the cleric of god of healing, right? Very few in common, very distinct spells, very, very distinct spells. And that way you're going to see and feel a whole different play style from that person, because that person is going to really get into it. It's like method acting, right? If you're method acting, you take on all the vibe, all the accoutrements, all the clothing, the outfits. Every cleric's gonna have a different outfit too, based on their god. It's gonna different armor depending on the cleric, right? God of war, yes, you can wear heavy armor. God of peace, fucking leather, bitch. Things like that. So every cleric, every warlock, every caster, very, very different in feel. One thing I wanted to talk about too, you guys mentioned tieflings before. I'm doing this a little bit different. I don't know what I'm going to call them yet, but basically, in my other game, in that 5th edition game, I never liked tieflings or cambions, but I liked the idea of that, and so I changed it. I changed it around. What I did was I made tieflings all female, always female, and the product of a devil and a human female. Okay, and they were always female. Now, cambions, all right, are a product. They're always male, and they are a product of a human female and a demon. Okay, and so cambions and tieflings fight the blood war, right? That's what they do. I kind of like the whole idea. I've always liked that about 2nd edition, the blood war. So that's what they do. They fight the blood war against each other, and in different ways. And so you're going to see that. Now, in my game, tieflings, where there's 3 aspects to tieflings and 3 aspects to cambions. The first aspect is their race. Based on being a hellspawn or a tiefling, whatever you want to call it, you have racial abilities, that seem like magical abilities, but they're innate. They're not spells, right? And then they also have the ability to be a warlock, okay? And they have the ability to be a class. And so they're extremely high-powered. They're not PCs. They're NPCs in my campaign. You can't play them as a PC. I mean, you could if you want. It's going to be hard because they're not balanced, and people like balance, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to really get into the role-playing aspect of it, I played them as NPCs, and I thought they were really fun that way as a DM. But you can do it as, if you had a good group who really you think you could handle it, that's cool. So they're organized. They work in cells. They work for different devils, and their goal was to basically, kick ass in the blood war against any cambions or demons in the world, right? And so the cambions, they were basically, abilities based on being a cambion, which gave them certain special abilities, which sort of mirrored the other side of tieflings. Tieflings had a lot of fire shit, and cambions had a lot of electricity shit, right? And then you had a sorcerer, because I liked the wild magic of sorcerer. So they had the wild magic sorcerer ability in 5th edition, and then they could also be a class. Most people played a fighter or a barbarian or something like that, right? So that's what I did with these guys. Now I also changed up Dragonborn. All right, Dragonborn were dumb, I thought, in 5th edition, but I like the concept. So a Dragonborn would be a female dragon, changes into a human form, mates with a male. The more powerful the male, the more powerful their brood, their Dragonborn brood. They lay 50 to 100 eggs, and out pop Dragonborn, right? Whose loyalty, number 1, is to their mother, number 2 is to Tiamat, and number 3 is to fighting all other types of dragons, of good, things like that. So that's what their primary incentive was. And Dragonborn were a similar thing. They had, first of all, Dragonborn base abilities based on the type of dragon they were. And then every single Dragonborn was also a cleric of Tiamat. All right. So they had all those, clerical abilities. And they also had the ability to take another class. So they were triple classed as well, essentially, right? So all these things were triple classed. They also had Dragon Song too, which I sort of developed out as well. So they had the ability to cast some Dragon Song magic, much less than an actual dragon would be able to cast, but they had some level to cast Dragon Song magic. So as you can see, Tieflings and Cambions and Dragonborn, extremely different in my world, but you can see the difference how I'm trying to approach flavor with spells and spell casting, right? It's not just a class and you take cleric and you're the same as a cleric of anything else, even though you're a whole different race. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it here. It's a different approach, I know, and the hard part is that I'm not using the OGL spells. I am not going through the OGL or the 5th edition Creative Commons license and just copying those spells. I'm not doing that. I'm starting over. Every spell, you might see a Fireball variant, but it's not just going to be the OGL Fireball. It's not at all. I'm starting from scratch, and that's something that I don't think too many games do. I mean, if you look at Hyperborea, I'm looking at the books. If you look at Castle Made Archmage, if you look at Axe, there's a lot of OGL spells. I mean, Axe, I think the newest one, all he did was change the names, but there's still the OGL spells. He just wanted to avoid bullshit from Wizards of the Coast, you know. You look at Adventures Dark and Deep by Joe Block. A lot of OGL spells in there, right? I'm not doing that. I'm changing up the spells themselves, and they're going to be very different. So that's going to give you a different feel, I think. That's one thing DCC did, was they changed a lot of the spells. I didn't like that they changed the system with the failure and the roll 20 for every spell you cast and see what the fuck happens. I like spells to work in a certain way. What's up, Rory? But I do want them to be different. I want this game to say, oh, it's fighters and clerics and wizards, oh my, but no. A lot of spells, a lot of different abilities, right? So I'm also front loading. Oh, yeah, Rory, I haven't done a video since Axe. I'm also front-loading the classes. I'm not going to have like, oh, at first level, I want to be this and take this and then that, so that by 15th level, I can have all these things. You're front-loading everything, and you're just getting better at everything, right, for the most part. In very, very few exceptions, there's going to be anything that you get at a higher level. So, yeah, Daryl, I went over that as well, Daryl. They're going to be very, very different, you know. I think D&D 5e sheep and tieflings are now poor victims of racism. I was once a child of sin and member of a fallen race, and I was a human. Yeah, and a cool one too. It's like the new goth, right? Tieflings are like the new goth characters, essentially. Everybody wants to be tieflings, you know. So starting this harbor with the Everett Hole Center has been one big reskin of old TSR stuff. I agree, slow children to play. You know, I want this to be unique. I want it to be somewhat different than the standard fucking, you know, D&D reskin. You know, it's going to be. Somebody just asked me how I'm looking at this game, and I said, you know what, it really came about because I had promised my players in my 2nd edition campaign that ran for a couple of years, the old school guys, I promised them 2E by the book, and then it didn't happen because I couldn't play it by the book because it was stupid. The 2E I remembered from 1993 was very different than a 2E I'm reading here in 2023, right? So 30 years later, I'm like, this is stupid, this is dumb. You know, living through the OSR and all that experience and playing different games, you know, you learn a few things, right? So I want to change it. So I had, 19 pages of house rules. Would have been a lot more, but they kept bitching about 20 pages. And I said, no, it's only 19. I keep changing the font to make it smaller. So, yeah. So basically, I just said this. They kept busting my balls. I'm like, oh, why don't you just make your own fucking game? Or all these house rules. I'm like, hey, bitch, I will. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making my own fucking game. So that's where it all came about. But I gotta say, I mean, this fucking edition has some good shit in it, right? It's not my edition. I always called this good enough D&D. You know, it's like, all right, it's good enough. I'll play it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's good enough, right? It's like a McDonald's hamburger. It's good enough. It's not a fucking burger from a Five Guys or something, but it's fucking good enough. So that's why I look at 5e, but they have some good mechanics. I like the DC system, things like that. You know, what's up, Vic? That sort of thing. So essentially what I'm doing here is making a 5e, 2e mashup. So, and also taking all the house rules that I've ever used in any system, any game from LOTFP, from AD&D or anything like that. And, whatever's good, whatever I felt this is a good idea, I'm dropping it in there for various things. So that's what the game is going to be. So you're probably going to see, more videos about as I'm doing this, as I'm developing it, either world building or going through spells. Those are the things that are coming up soon. You're going to see videos on that sort of thing because whatever I'm doing, I agree, Death Angels, Tasha's cauldron of bullshit is what broke it. I agree. I absolutely agree. Some of those books, the Volo's guides, were the Volo's book was great. The Mordenkainen's book was great. Thought the Volo's guide had a lot of flavor to demi-humans, but not demi-humans. Yeah, demi-humans. No, no, fuck me. Humanoids, humanoids. A lot of great flavor to humanoids. But so that's pretty much what I'm doing is a mashup. So you're probably going to see videos about what I'm doing. So world building, for now, spells, things like that. Once I get past the spell part in a few months, the system part, and then I'm probably going to do some 5e related videos, guys. Sort of bring in because my audience is not just OSR, right? If I'm doing a 5e 2e mashup, I might be able to attract some 5e people, so that might work out. So I'm probably going to do some how to make the 5e Ranger more old school, things like that, little things like that. I think I'm going to lean into. So it's kind of good. It's kind of good, I think. So you're probably going to see more videos about that stuff. Okay. So as we go along, bear with me. It's a work in progress. I've been sort of like straining myself to figure out what do I want to do. Because as you noticed, I've tried a few different things. So let me do these in-depth reviews. They're fun, and I could do more. But I'm not going to make it a regular thing because it didn't really grab a lot of people like I thought it might. Right. I tried the deep interviews, and I'm going to do more of those deep dive interviews, because they're fun as hell. But I'm not going to be doing one every other week like I was doing, right? I want to do more of these regular live videos and regular recorded videos and things like that where I can get into everything with you guys. And I like the interaction. I really do like this live stuff, so it might probably be a lot of this stuff live. I don't have a script, as you know, but I'll do like notes I'll look at here and checks and things like that. So, as we get into it, but I'm just going to, as I go, I'm just going to chronicle it. Because it's good for me too, I think. It's like, and people later on are gonna say, "Oh, how'd you, 5-6 years from now when the shit is out, how'd you do that?" Well, there's 400 videos you can go watch on how I did it every step of the way, in case you want to follow along and do it your own thing. I think it might be helpful for people to see the things I did, the struggles I went through, the decisions I had to make, all that sort of thing. So I think that'll be good for people. Just, be open, be honest, and let it all hang out. So. That's why I think where I'm going to be my focus. And it's sort of, all this just came to me this morning as I was taking a shower. I'm like, what should I do? What should I do? It's been like this, back of the head strain. I wanted to do this, but it's not working the way I wanted. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm like, just fucking do what you're doing. Talk about whatever the hell you're doing. And by talking about it, I get video, I get content, I get followers, I get potential future purchasers, and it helps me to focus on doing it too. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I had to watch all 4.5 hours of Rob the Prep for 45 minutes. How'd you do, man? That's cool. That's cool. I got to listen to yours yet. That's Angels. By the way, Rob Connolly, guys, Bat in the Attic Games. Watch the video that I did. Watch That's Angels video. Rob is wrapping up his most recent Rob is wrapping up his most recent Kickstarter this Friday. He started it live on my stream. It was a live stream, 4.5 hours, whatever the hell it was. And started live with me and really did well. Got like $10,000 really right away. And then he kept growing and growing. He's closing in on $30,000. This Friday, Rob is going to be on the Friday night group, all right? The old school group that I used to do, they still do, every other Friday. I'm going to be joining them because I'm going to like sort of spread the broadcast, the message. I started this thing with Rob. I want to finish it with Rob. So it's going to be Eric and me and Tim and all that. We're going to be doing a live stream live Friday night where Rob wraps up the Kickstarter live. He's like at $27,000, 27 grand. So we want to get him to 30, definitely. I know the last couple of days usually a boost too, but if it can get to 35, even better. I want to give as much money as possible for his thing. So check it out. So he's the Majestic Fantasy setting game. All right. Yeah, his setting rather. And it should be good. So go on Kickstarter and check it out there. Bat in the Attic Games, Rob Connolly. I'm sure I had a link already for you guys, but I'm sure you could find it there. And we're gonna, like I said, do it live with Rob on Friday. I'll be here broadcasting to all the various channels. Eric, I think Greg will probably be there. Tim Schwartz is going to be interviewing. Yes, Tankar's group. Yep, I'll be cross streaming on my channels, and Eric will be on his channels and all that sort of thing. So yeah. So that'll be fun. Be a fun time. So Rob will wrap it live with us. He started live. We're gonna wrap it live. Here's the thing, guys. I saw a clip. I didn't see the video, but I saw that D&D Schwartz guy, bald with the fucking beard like a mofo, like Moses. He did a video about, oh my God, this is how they used to have limitations on the sexes, we females, back in the old days of the ancient days of yore, back here, so, and I know what he's talking about. I noticed in the video because I knew kind of where he was going with that, where females had less strength cap, right? Races had different caps on their ability scores based on their race. Everybody in the new editions, if you're a dwarf, you're +2, but your cap is still 18, right? In let's say con or something like that. If you're a halfling or an elf, you're +1 to intelligence. You're halfling, you're +2 to dex, whatever the fuck it is, but your cap is still 18. The older editions, they had a cap of less if you were a female and less if you were certain races. Now, I'm going to do that in my game because it's based in fucking reality, right? Any female of any class is going to be like 3 points less in strength, period. That's the one cap I'm going to do. Racial is going to have a cap too, like halflings. You're 3.5 feet tall. You're never going to be as strong as Arnold Schwarzenegger, or the Mountain, right, from the Game of Thrones. You're just not going to be that strong ever, right? You're just not. I mean, why do giants and ogres and things like that have a higher strength than humans, but halflings, who are the equivalent to humans as humans are to giants, can have an 18 strength? That's just stupid. It's stupid. So it's all going to be related to reality, right? I'll have that as the base rule, but I'll have a little caveat. For anybody who's annoyed by this, you could always change it up, I'll give females a strength penalty, and I don't know, man, a lot of I don't know about charisma, I don't know about charisma. So I don't think I'll go with the charisma bonus, but everybody says, the intuition or wisdom thing. A lot of stupid people out there are both sexes. So the only one I'm really going to do is strength, honestly, because your dex, first of all, I'm going to have 9 ability scores. So a little bit different, right? But I think strength's the one I'm really going to cap. That's really it. So that's the main one, based on race and based on gender. So that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. My world's going to be 2 genders. So change it up. If you want to play in my world and change my world, feel free to go ahead. But that's how I'm going to base it on. So, yeah. So that's what I'm going to do anyway in my game, guys. So a little preview there. Let's see. Let me catch up on your comments here. I've been missing some as I've been ranting away here. Let's see. Where's Tankar's? Yeah, Tankar's group. Yep. Rick Vinegar. When you're yourself with all 3, you can have your own bodyguard training stronghold. Halflings are female dwarves. Interesting. Rapid Fire Rob, they call him. Run to gain more mass as I level. Rob is great. Yeah, with Ginny D. That's the English chat. Do you like Ginny D? 3 feet is tall. Based return to OD&D. For small characters, have a player's vibe. They roll for strength by 2. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know what dimorphism is, but it sounds interesting. Yeah, house rule Joe's stuff. You can house rule the shit. I house rule everybody's stuff. So, house rule the shit out of mine, man. Why my halfling cannot be taller than a giant and stronger than a dragon? Exactly. What's wrong with 2 genders? I'm like, being one. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the politics of it. All I'm saying is my world. That's how it's going to be. If you want to house rule my world, you want to house rule my game, knock yourself out. Who am I to complain? I've house ruled every goddamn setting or system I've ever come across. So pretty much it. Feel free. I'm just going to tell you this how I'm going to do it. You can do whatever the fuck you want. No judgment. Have fun. Knock yourself out, guys. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So, yeah, anywho. Wow, talking for over an hour here. Wow, Jesus. I'd rather run D&D for a table of Elvis impersonators or Michael Jackson impersonators. Elvis, I think. I think Elvis. Michael Jackson seems kind of shy. Elvis is like right in your face. You know what I mean? Elvis will be demonstrating his karate moves that he's going to do on the things, Yeah. So Elvis will be Elvis more fun, I think. Elvis will be more fun. So, any questions you guys have? I do deserve a big thing. It's a lot of talking here. So, let me polish this off and finish it off there. Yeah, I'm out of practice for this talking. I'm also sitting weirdly uncomfortably in this chair. I got a pillow behind me. I got pills in me. Oh my God, I had a tooth pulled. My tooth broke, an old root canal tooth. This is the nasty shit. So, spoiler alerts and gross throw up alerts. Get this shit, right? Fucking tooth broke. So I go to the dentist. And he says, yeah, it's the old root canal, blah, blah, blah. It's rotten. You got to get it out. I'm like, all right, I got to get it out. Fucking thing was so goddamn rotten. And he used his drill bit as like a jackhammer and beat it up in pieces. It took like over an hour and a half to fucking rip that shit out, man. You know? Jesus Christ. It was terrible. It was terrible. And then they filled it with like cadaver bone and a paste that's going to solidify and blah, blah, blah. So get an implant later. Holy crap. Holy crap. All right, Doc Flamingo, member for 10 months, OSR Grognard. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. Oh, you know what I could do here? Here's what I could do, guys. Because it's a new month, I could give free memberships for a month. And if you're a member, what you get, for the most part, what you're getting out of my memberships here is the ability to see any recorded videos early. If I record a video, I generally put it up at least a day ahead of time before it goes live. So what I'm going to do here, let's see, that's nice. Member for 4 months. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give away free memberships, and they're like the $4.99 level, but you're not charged, obviously, and it lasts 30 days. And once you're done, once the 30 days is up, the membership just goes away. So, yeah. What is my hair washing routine? I just wash my hair, dude. I got a conditioner and I got a shampoo and conditioner. But let me give these memberships here real quick. All right, so membership gifting. All right, I have 10 memberships to send this month. I'm going to send 5 now. Let's see who gets them. All right, here we go. All right, we got 5 memberships. We got Rory is now a member. Griffin True Silver is a member. Doc Fortune, Roger Rebiz has been gifted a member. All right, you got 4 members have been gifted memberships here. Excellent, excellent. Wow, only 4. And E got a membership by me. Okay, just E. That's just your name. It's just E. All right, let's see. Well, we'll do 5 more because I could do. You know what? I'm going to save the 5 for the next live stream. I'll give you 5 now, and I'll give you 5 next live stream. How about that? All right. Yeah, no problem. No problem, Rory. So, yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. All right, so where are we at here? So we got 5 members. We got Rory, Griffin, Doc, Roger, and E. All got memberships. Let's see. Why would you play as a girl in your game? Says Bagel Man. Yeah, if you want to play as a girl, who cares? Dennis are con men. They charge you so much for. Oh, dude. And I have great insurance, but I got fucking killed on that shit, man. Killed. What's my hair washing routine? Vic, all I do is I use cheap shampoo and cheap conditioner. Aussie shampoo, Aussie conditioner. And I just, when I get out of the shower, comb it all back, put it in a ponytail, and it dries like that. Usually it's down, but it's so fucking hot, as you can tell by the sheen here. Billion degrees. So yeah. When will I be on again? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. Slow children to play. I don't plan these too much. It's like as I'm inspired by something, and I was doing the spells yesterday. I'm like, I should do a live stream about this shit, you know. So that's pretty much how it came down, you know. Yeah. Enable member chats. I have member chats. That's something I kept saying I'm going to do when I get 50 members. If there's 50 paying members, not the bonus members, that the free ones, but I get 50 solid members, I'll get the member chat thing going on there. So that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll scale it back to a monthly. If I hit 25 actual members, I think without these 5, I think I was at 21 memberships. So maybe I'll do it with when I hit 25. All right. So maybe I'll do that. Okay. So next time I do a live stream, I'll do the other 5 freebies, guys. In the last 30 days. It's not a month thing. It doesn't like I give it on June 23rd and they end on June 30th or whatever. It's like a 30-day thing, you know? Yeah. Tell us how females will go bald. Okay, Alexander. Now I know what your sexual dimorphism is. Let's see. Marcelo says, quick question. Your Axe 2 is better to lie down or keep it upright. The same question for your OAR. I'm laying it down because it's the way I fit them here. I think it looks better. Plus, I don't want to like stack them like this and bang them. They all go tumbling off the shelf. I figure if I stack them high, it's better. Plus, I like the way the view looks here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, answering your game, I like everything about it. Bagel Man, thank you. Roger's a CSN con guy, isn't he? I don't know. Jones likes nice stream. No, I'm sorry. I'm going through the old comments, make sure I got everything. You banned my friend from being transferring in Discord. Yeah, Eon, you're just a troublemaker, so go fuck yourself. I didn't ban anybody for being trans, so again, go fuck yourself. Yeah, so there we go. Let's see. Discourse minis. There was super high anxiety for a year like me. Yeah. Oh, fuck you, Eon. I know you're just here to cause trouble, so go fuck yourself. How would I know if somebody's trans in Discord, asshole? So yeah, I like cinnamon raisin bagels and cinnamon raisin toast. And that's what I like. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So anyways, everybody's welcome to do whatever they want. All right. So anywho, guys, I think I got to bounce. I got to run to the gym. So thank you all so very much. Much appreciated. I do appreciate you all watching and everything. So let's see here. Let me do something here real quick. Since Eon is a troublemaker, I am now hiding Eon on the channel, and you'll never see Eon again, I think. So there you go. I don't like troublemakers, some assholes. So there we go. All right, good deal. We have to focus on that. Yeah, I'm even going to get into that bullshit. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, guys. I appreciate you all watching and joining me here, and we will talk to you soon. Next. Yeah, Roger, I'm sorry I missed you. CNY, man. The back was a disaster. The back was a fucking disaster, so, yeah. So, anywho, I will talk to you all later, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and we'll catch you soon next time, all right? Well, 35 people watching. We got 23 and 6 and 5 and 1. Nice. Yeah, I hate to leave now, but I do have to hit the gym, so thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry, I was going to hit end, but I see the question. Discord link is below, guys. Discord link if you want to join the Discord. I also have a Facebook group, so take it easy. Bye-bye.